Well, the current world situation is still escalating in a negative way now with between Pakistan and India, and the big airplane fights in the air as well, showing off what they call dog fights, and also funny escalation on the border of the called Wagai Atari border. It was shown on many videos online how the soldiers are just intimidating each other, each from his side of the border, raising the flags and moving around. It's very funny in a way. It shows our lack of brilliancy as people, humans. And both nations has actually nuclear power. That means they have some clever people around. They also have a lot of money and they have a rich population and culture as well. But the cultures are so different that they cannot find a way to live in harmony. There is hatred and some kind of disgust among them on both sides. In my opinion, right now, the Indians have shown more temperance and more like restraint and wisdom in the way of reacting, while the Pakistanis, unfortunately, on this round, it's not always been like that, but on this round, they have been really aggressive and some kind fueling the conflict. And it's I don't know why and what's going on in their minds and heads and what kind of philosophy is driving them. And some would say it's Islam, but I say it's deeper than that, or maybe more shallow than that. It's more about when we lose sight of the wisdom in religion and culture and what it's all about, we tend to do these things. If a nation is failing, like we see in the United States, to hold on to its values and people, and we can see the abuse just beneath the surface of the system, well, people like the current leaders would appear and they will take a turn nobody expected. And so that's what's going on in the East as well. And in between that, China and Taiwan, and we have all that's going on in Gaza between the Israelis and Palestinians. It's the psychology of hatred, disgust, refusal of the other, dehumanization, and yeah, just not being clever enough to be able to build nations that really can rise above with a great power and great inclusion, to raise above any kind of hatred and conflict. It seems so impossible to imagine. We seem to be light years away from any measures of harmony. I like to listen to the Indian Sadhguru, and I think he's playing an important and good vital part in the turnouts of how people are thinking around the globe. The great guru called Sadhguru, he's very famous around the world on his motorcycle and his dancing daughter, and he's very calm and balanced. And I followed him several years ago, and I liked him immediately. I could see he has integrity and transparency, and was just being himself. And he had this charisma as well over him that makes him shine through. And he was also in the right moment at the right time because India needed such a kind of spiritual awakening in its Hinduistic culture. But he was like acting as a father of humanity more than just a religious guru for the Hindus. He was trying to reach out beyond his nation to the world, and it somehow succeeded as well. He's also been promoted, of course. There's somebody promoting this work of his because it suits some ideas, and I would like to promote him as well because we need people to lift us up from these eternal barrels of quarrels and fights. And so he has been speaking about this as well in a wise and clever manner, but that doesn't change the reality that they are escalating and making a fight over territory and culture and who belongs to whom and what kind of nation and geography has the right to what. So we've totally, in our humanity, from time to time, lost that awareness that we all belong to the same globe. We are all put here for a reason or without a reason, whatever. We are here together. That's what's a fact for everyone. Whether you believe we are here for a reason or we are here just because it's a coincidence or a god got angry or Adam was a bad man or some fish crawled up to the land. Really, whatever you think about this, and I know you won't agree with each other on that, because the evolutionist won't agree with the human designist. Well, whatever you think, whatever you know, you think you know, we are here. That's the fact. And we are here to kill each other and to exclude each other and to make our cultures seem better than everyone else. I don't think so. And that's a trick. Whether we are under some kind of a devilish trick, or it is a test from a god, or we are just left to grow up in our awareness and deep mentality, whatever it is we are here left for to do, you really can't think that our cultures are meant to be there to fight each other and to kill each other and take territory from each other. Um, it needs a new concept of peace. I think Immanuel Kant was very keen and good on finding that, but also several others before him from the Middle Ages had written on that kind of idea of a global harmonic village under the rule of God. It was, of course, from the Caliphate at that time. They wanted to conquer the world and put it under the rule of the one God with diverse cultures within it. And the same idea goes in the Christianity. And so the new concept of peace that we really need is the awareness of us sharing the planet, lifting ourselves up, if not by own will, then by power. These big powers have failed us. Those who had the power to go in and stop conflicts, they have failed us by using it to some kind of advancement, or taking taking the lead in some scientific approach. And that's why conflicts will continue, because no one dare take the first step, giving themselves up to a kind of ideological free space. What can you say? A kind of naivety, a trust in the other, a belief that the other won't kill you when you lay down your weapons. That happened during the Soviet American Cold War. Nobody dared to take the first step of de escalation. They both knew, well, we are on the brink of the Third World War, many will be killed, we won't even survive ourselves, and so on. But nobody dared take the first step, because maybe the first step will be the end of you. And this is what's going on in the world, and now between India and Pakistan as well. Nobody dares take the first step to say, hey, I will de-escalate. It will be shown as a weakness, sign of weakness. That's why they need a mediator from outside, and that's what's going to happen. Somebody will come from the outside and push them back, and push them to the talk tables, and whatever, the conflicts will be put down. Otherwise, what will happen is that somebody will see their interest in that fight. Well, two population-rich nations, we can put the numbers of humans down. This cynically, some people are thinking like that out there. I know you normal people don't think somebody could think like that, but just imagine you are the one selling the weapons and the Medicare and whatever is needed, and you have the access. Well, a conflict could be in your egoistic and narcissistic interest. You could be a psychopath that's really going to hell afterwards, because you are destroying humanity by gaining that power. And that's what God doesn't like, and he will put you in the hell sooner or later by doing so. But while you're free to do what you can do with your power, you could maybe go and abuse these nations and make the conflict worse, and so fighting will erupt, and you will gain a lot of the interest you wanted to, selling weapons and helping both parties keep the status quo. It could be a nation behind this. It could be two, three nations, whatever. So cynicism is also there, working its way. And they say, well, the most cynical person is the devil, because he really was not just a rebel against God's wish and will. He was also a kind of a trickster who wants to just destroy humanity and the humans with any means. That's cynicism. And that's what we call evil. And so evil is rooted in us today, because we lack awareness of who we are as humans, and we share the globe, and nobody dares put down their arms and say, okay, if you're not gonna kill me, I'm not gonna strike again. And this is also a lost message for the Muslims in the Quran, where the two brothers of Adam, the sons of Adam, they were discussing why one was accepted and the other wasn't. And he says to him, according to the Quranic verses, that if you're gonna take out your hand and strike me, I won't do the same. I won't pull out my hand and strike you back, because God knows who is the unjust, and I'm afraid of God's consequences. And so one does kill his brother, the other doesn't fight back. Many, many centuries later, we see that in the figure of Christ, who insists for his followers and on himself, not fighting back, not running away, and not returning the compliment, the ugly compliments, with the same ones. And so we can do it. And there are always Christ figures in this world and beautiful figures in the world, but it's lost because we lack the awareness. The cultures are not educating us and their people to avoid conflict. They are educating everyone to seek it, to be ready for it, to hate the other for what he is because he is different. And so we won't grow beyond this as long as we are like this. A human cooperation could have led us really far to the moon and to the planets more than we are today. The race of space today, well, okay, they're finding new planets, just found the ninth planet, they say, and they're looking in the new telescopes. I know it's a cooperation between several countries, and I know NASA has people employed from all over the world. That's a beautiful way of showing how we can cooperate and use our most brilliant minds to bring us places we haven't been. That's what we need. But we also need to secure the earth as a home and to make the most poor people disappear. No more poordom, no more people who can be abused, neither as child, as women, or laborers. And we do not need cultures that makes us hate each other because we are different in religious ideas. We need cultures that say, you are different because this is God's wish, that he made us nations and cultures so we could start gaining interest in each other and learning about our different ways. So it's about diversity in humanity and not the fight over it. But when it all goes wrong, one strong power always emerges and takes over. And this will be the next step for humanity after these small conflicts here and there. And the big nation that has the responsibility is abandoning it. The nation of the freedom of liberty, abandoning it. This role that they have failed in miserably, bringing the world to a global stage where humans can act together. They know that themselves and they talk about it as well, and reporters and whatever people with insight, they know that they have failed the world, and the world is not really trusting in their intentions anymore. They have been trusting them for decades. All that's left is a kind of abuse and a kind of trade relations on the surface, but it can quickly turn into hatred and a kind of opposition when people find themselves abused or put under very heavy terms, like what happened in Ukraine right now with the trade for minerals, trade minerals for weapons, trade minerals for kind of peace or support. How long would that last? Because it's very, very visible that, well, I'm not going to help you because I want to stop a war. I'm going to help you because it's my interest alone. And that's a failure. Wherever you look at it, however you look at it, it's a failure in lifting humanity. And they can just raise their shoulders, say, wow, well, it's not our responsibility. Humanity can go its own ways. And that's also a good argument to leave the stage and just go and be yourself over there in the United States or whatever superpower is behind it. But the true goal should have been and must have been this global harmony where every individual is fed, has right to his and her belief, secured from any cultural suppression, and having people cooperating in trade, and then having this global vision of a political agreement that encounters and encompasses all nations. It has been tried in the United Nations, it has failed, and I don't know how it's going to be tried again. I think it's going to be a superpower who's going to take over and by force just put people on one and certain direction And it will be opposed by cultures and people who do not agree on it, and they will find excuses not to join it, and the fighting goes on. So basically, it's a question of awareness of our culture. How do we look at each other, and how do we look at the space we have? Is the person on the other side my brother, just with a different tongue and language and food? Or is he an enemy that I need to pull back and take things away from him? It's very heavy on the mind and heart for everyone. And what's going on in Gaza, Palestine, and what's going on in Israel as well. I look at these two nations with love, and I look at the people as suffering people, even their leaders, poor people. They are committing crimes and hatred just because they can have the power or they have the hatred to do it. Suicide bombers from one side and targeted bombing from the other side, and so it goes on, all just to take control of a small piece of land. They're never going to end it. And in the end, well, a lot of blood will be shed, and a lot of crushing, and skulls will be left. And then say, we won. And the other part will say, we will win it back. So it keeps going on. So we need a total new concept of how to live together, understand each other, and go on a global level. And I know some of the secret societies that's out there in the world has these ideas, but I don't know what their influence and their ability to do something has sometimes reached beyond themselves, and other times, well, not really been all that far measured. Well, yeah, that's a thought on the world. I haven't spoken for a while, but I like to speak and just put it out there, maybe for the robot who's going to save us in the future. Who knows what will come when all these and artificial intelligence has taken over? They will sometimes maybe understand us more by listening to what we are saying and what our deepest wishes are. We need global peace that humans can live in and feel free to have their rights to culture, religion, without hatred and disgusting comments on each other and trying to suppress each other. This is what we truly need so we can have an enriched global culture for everyone alive in it. And so we're not aware enough. It's the awareness, it's the understanding that's wrong. So I don't know. I'm following to see what's going to happen between the Indians and the Pakistanis and the rest of the world with these trade agreements and whatever is going on.